Well, our desk may be unanimous in predicting KRU to take this one, but Achieves, I just want to talk about the fact that finally, at the World Championships, there is Spanish representation.
Yes, at long last, they've made it. KRU has found their way to their first World Championship, and to be honest, I can understand everybody wanting them to perform, picking them as the favorite here. There's a lot of mechanical capability on there, but as Jorby said, you really do have to look for Drufinho, I think, to be beating multiple people, and everyone's just going to give him space. Drops is in for free.
8 seconds in to the first batters in the RLCS. They go 1-0 down, and it's Drops with absolutely nobody around him. How much does that set the tone for this series?
It was not good to see Dorito and Atomic kind of both stutter step in the box and have neither of them be able to go and get it or think they can get it and let them through. That's not the best start, to be sure. If you're KRU, you're absolutely loving it. You'll take that all day.
Oh yeah, it's the dream beginning for these debutants. All three of them not been on this stage before here at the World Championships, but my goodness, do they have some good players. Drufinho was being talked about on the desk as their chief goal scorer, and Drops as well. Who is it that you in particular have got your eye on for KRU Esports?
Generally, I actually really like Brad's play. I know a lot of the offense is filtered through Drops and Drufinho, but Brad tends to sit pretty deep back. He'll give a little bit of extra space in that midfield sometimes, so if Drufo doesn't quite have that ability to break down multiple defenders, you're going to see Brad be the one deep back, and he's got so much presence on the ball. He sticks it so close. He's able to buy a lot of time, and I really appreciate a player like that.
G1 doing their best to close down KRU Esports when they get on the ball, and finally they're venturing forward towards the KRU half. That attack sort of peters out, at least for now, until KRU can just spam it forward towards Atomic. Oli tries to pick out Dorito. And Oli, a player, the Dutchman, who back in the start of this season with Oxygen, he went to the Rotterdam Major and he was part of a team that were the favourites for a long time in that event. It's been tough for him to tread water in EU since then.
Yes, and to be fair, Europe has definitely leveled up to a significant degree right with this roster swap for him, but he's got a little bit of space to work with, but really actually expecting Atomic and Dorito to be the ones to try and jam things through there and let Oli kind of facilitate and be a gap filler here as he will cut in, get cleared away as Drops will just throw this one down to space.
Dorito's going to take a touch there. Dorito, who's had a tricky venture forward in the RL Esports scene after losing his dream teammate CRR. They were together for such a long time, built themselves up, and then they had to go their separate ways as CRR went over to Complexity in North America. Dorito has done a fantastic job just being here, continuing to remain in this EU conversation. It's not been simple, as so many players and teams have proven. They are currently trailing to KRU Esports, improving though after that opening 10 seconds or so.
Yeah, definitely kind of balanced out the positioning here. Brad, nice low 50, just off the post, oh so close. Drufo going to get a little chip taken out of him in the midfield, so maybe a little bit of room to counterattack here for G1. See if they can hang on to it with this challenge from Drufo coming at him.
Here he comes, he goes to the floor after taking to the skies. It's not quite enough. Brad wants to get that cute little redirect from the corner, seeing that play used more and more at this level of RL Esports as they improve their mechanics. That one was a tad heavy. It does lead to a counter-attack for G1. Eventually they lose it, and it's Drufinho.
I will say,
pushing it forward.
You really do like to see Drufo find multiple opportunities on the ball where he can let those mechanics come to work. Yeah, he hasn't really been able to break down a whole lot of defenders, but the fact that he's finding himself in those positions is exactly where KRU wants him.
Lovely opening touch there towards Oli from his teammate. Dorito's in the center. He's trying to be found there by Oli. Not quite able to bulldoze his through. Normally Oli has such a good 50-50 game. Keep an eye on that one. As the series progresses, we'll be able to manipulate the ball wherever he intends to put it. In those key battles, those challenge moments on the pitch. And now his Drops causing all sorts of havoc over there on the G1 half. Dorito pushes it out wide. We seem to have slowed down for a little bit in the opening game after the quick start from KRU.
Struggling to find boost, free ball randomly for Dorito, not able to really put it on frame, and misses the boost steal, so Oli gonna have to buy a lot of time, and great little bump from Brad just to open up that nice clearing lane for Drufinho.
Dorito's underneath this one, hoping that Brad might be a little bit slow to it, but wisely chooses to leave Brad to it. Now Oli up against Brad. It was actually won the 50-50 by Brad right there. Allowing Drufinho in. KRU Esports is building something up. When are they going to strike? Up the pace yet again. They don't even need to. They just wait for the mistake, and eventually it happens.
Yeah, not a good ball here. Atomic, that's a great challenge, but this is really handcuffs Oli on the backboard there. He's not able to cut into the challenge. He sees it pop out. He's the only one in position to go and get it. Can't get a quality touch on it, and Brad was just waiting to pick it off in the midfield.
so far for KRU. A couple of goals to their name. One from early pressure, the second from a big mistake in the G1 defense. G1 have looked okay between those two pivotal moments in game number 1, as Oli tries to get something a little bit spicy, not quite able to, is sent back home. 45 seconds left. The G1 have to get something going.
And you are going to see G1 shove pretty hard here. Wouldn't be surprised to see them really crowd the box in these last 40 seconds.
Atomic has to wait for this one in the air. There is a demo that comes in, but we have 2 KRU players still continuing to attack, so it won't slow them down in any way. 30 seconds now, and G1 yet to lay a glove. Dorito tries to backflip it. Oh, but Drufinho takes out the G1 player. That should be 3, and that will be game.
And the worst part is they actually pre-jumped the pass out of the corner here, and it went over the pre-jump's head and into Dorito in the corner. So Dorito just has to try and make something work. Throws it off the corner, gets picked off, and G1 trying to make something big happen to give them an opportunity, end up throwing one back away, but that's okay. Game 1 definitely got away from them for sure, and it's an excellent start for KRU. They looked confident. They didn't feel rushed in any particular area of the field. It's an excellent start for KRU here in the World Championship.
Yeah, it was tough for them back in the spring. A couple of 3-1 losses starting off with Rule 1, so no easy games at that level, and this isn't an easy game either, but the land debutants are making it look fairly simple right now with a clean 3-0 win in game number 1.
Really good. You have to appreciate that approach from KRU. Locking down a team like G1, I was a little worried about how this one could play out, because there was a world, I felt like, where if Drufinho is not the person on the ball consistently trying to break down defenders, you know, with Brad tending to give a little bit more space there in that midfield, maybe Dorito and Atomic were going to be able to come through and really press and start a strong attack back the other way. There's that first miscommunication. There's when Oli was handcuffed off the backboard. Brad picked it off. And then, of course, the one where they're trying to make anything happen and throw one away. But I was worried that if it wasn't Drufinho controlling pace, that Dorito and Atomic could have had a lot of opportunities there to really start strong counterattacks, but Rufo is always bang on the money for where he needed to be to get the play started.
I mean, you saw on your screen there, Mobile 1 high-performance replay, but it wasn't the best goals that I think KRU will score in this event. Hopefully it won't be the worst that G1 concede either, because that wasn't a fantastic start from them. And they're a team that seemed to be completely riding high. They were able to spoil so many teams until back in the Winter Major on Utopia, Game 4, suddenly everything collapsed in front of them, and it's sort of been going a little bit wrong for them since then. So I pray that whatever's being said to them behind the scenes right now, whatever they're discussing, is going to be fruitful for them.
Yeah, a lot of it feels, of course, initially you see that first one there, the mix-up between Atomic and Dorito, just a very awkward communication issue, and sometimes that happens. It's a little bit understandable because it is right off the kickoff. Sometimes you get stranded with not a lot of boost depending on where that ball goes. I think that first goal really did kind of leave a sour taste in the mouth right off the rip, but what can you do? Atomic, he's been playing quite well, though, all this time.
A real trailblazer as well, as a Spaniard. He was there as the OG Team Queso made the European Championships back in RLCS X. Were there to be a World Championship in that season, Queso would have been there, so it must have been frustrating for him to watch the next one roll around and him not be there and no other Spanish players being there. And now he has Dorito on his side as well. I'm not sure whether they comm in Spanish or I assume English, if it's two Spaniards and a Dutch
That's
speaker.
a good question. I would have to imagine that it's probably in English or...
I know a lot of players, even if their language and none of their players are English at all, they will speak in English as well, because it's quicker. It's quicker to say ball up than whatever it is in German. It's probably, 58 syllables just for those 2 words.
It can be sometimes. If you string all those nouns together, you get some crazy sentences here.
Yes.
But they're over on the KRU side. Man, I have to say, I am quite surprised that Game 1 went that smoothly for them. I know everyone picked KRU, but I actually had a pretty decent amount of faith over there on the G1 side of things to try and contain a little bit more.
My predictions are clearly utterly terrible today because I backed Power early on over Oxygen, and according to Ixo, that should have been 4-0. So easy for Oxygen if you trust the XG players. And this time I was saying to you before the series started, I had a sneaky suspicion that G1 would surprise a few people up against KRU Esports. I think the fact that their drop-off has been so publicly spoken about, their issues have been made clear for all to see, that dirty laundry has been aired well and truly in public. I'm hoping that they've had the time to work on it, and I'm not going to take it away from them, the fact that their first game was fairly poor, because KRU, they're coming into this one with a lot of belief. they were second in South America by 1 point above Team Secret. So that's how they were seeded this highly. And they're building upon that and doing everything asked of them and making it tough for G1 every turn of the way. And
it is good to see a crew like Team Rally after Boston. You know, we were so big on them in the previous Winter Major. It's like, yo, South America has really turned a corner, and then it was like, we didn't get that same knockout performance, you know.
And to beat a team into second that finished in the top 4 back in the full major, that is a lot of points that Team Secret got there. So it shows how consistent crew have been throughout the season in order to overtake them. Of course, all three of those teams were happy that Ninjas in Pajamas beat out Furia to ensure that Team Secret would be here as well. It's been a decent season for the South American teams, I think it's fair to say. And based on this opening game, it's only getting better.
Yeah, certainly. Like we said, couldn't ask for a better start, but this is always kind of a very interesting dynamic that we've talked about a few times whenever you get these long tech pauses. And there is something to be said about, you know, how do you prepare your players for, you know, long extended, you know, pause outside of a timeout for something that, you know, isn't even in your team's issue. We're not entirely sure what the issue is. It is being figured out, but I don't know what team it is. I don't know who it is or
we don't know who to blame.
And it's always so weird because it's such a different environment, I think, for players to try and navigate, since everyone's got these differing, you know, personalities and how they he wants to take a nap over there on the end.
I mean, I take it from the body language here that it is G1 that has the issues, because crew look beyond relaxed right now. They're taking a nap. They're having a great time. And, you know, they're relatively chill when they score these goals. But I did enjoy seeing G1 interact with the camera before the match as well. We had the
stare down.
Deep stare from Atomic as well. Yeah, I feel like that guy would beat any of us in a staring contest, so well done to him. But I think that's important as well. You can read a lot from the way a team is feeling just based on how you see their body language. You see their facial expressions as well.
Yeah, it's actually might be a good thing that it's on the on the G1 side, since they kind of got knocked around a little bit there in Game 1. It's like, okay, cool, let's take a second, let's figure this out, and let's take a moment for ourselves as well.
Their general performance, G1, in that first game wasn't atrocious.
No, not at all.
The goal replays of them a little bit dirty because the goals themselves were pretty poor. But on the overall balance of play, I think they had the ball in the crew half a lot of the time. The passes were working. Oli's 50-50 game is always important. And I looked at Arito as their mechanical player, the one who can break things down out of nothing, get them a goal, because that's how he built his way up in EU Rocket League as well. So they certainly have a lot of tools that they can use as we see going forwards in this series.
I think a lot of tools to describe G1's a pretty good way to put it. Like, Oli, I think, really rounds out, you know, a nice all-around. He's very capable in any situation, but he doesn't excel in any particular category. You know, it's not like he's this mechanical beast, but he's got the pressure there. But Dorito and Atomic tend to position so aggressively that they can really pressure a defense, and there's a lot that can go right for G1 if they get it going.
Crew definitely winning the peekaboo competition. I think that's announced at the end of the tournament of the MVPs. There's offensive, defensive, overall MVP, and then best peekabooers. I'll definitely go to Crew unless we see some later entrance into that particular tournament. But G1 seem to be locking themselves in. I'm having a look at the game right now, and players are starting to join and leave the match. So things are moving in the background. The cogs are whirring with our brilliant admins working to resolve this issue as fast as they possibly can. It has to be said, it does make a difference, and I don't think we can take away the fact that for Crew this will be a bit frustrating. You start game 1 of your Worlds debut, and you play, you know, a solid 10 performance, and then you lose that momentum. It's one of those things that happens and you have to deal with, but it is a bit annoying for them.
Yes, and that's what you were talking about, you know, that body language, and it's good to see that they were able to kind of take that pause for what it was and just say, you know what, hanging out, being groovy, just waiting for it to keep going, and you know, not let it get too much inside their heads. But I do think that they are ready to go out there and see if they can continue that type of progress. And you really just want to see the challenge game, specifically from G1, in terms of the timing improve. You really want to hit Drufinho right when he gets that ball or right as he pops it up, because that's really where they started to lose a lot of that possession in that first game. So if that timing improves a little bit on that challenge particularly, I think G1 finds themselves in a few better spots, or at least neutralizes a lot of possession.
Apologies for the wait, the delay, ladies and gentlemen. We were mowing the lawns of Forbidden Temple and trimming the beautiful plants, but finally we find ourselves here. Game 2 commences, and it's Crew 1-0 up against G1.
So let's see, a nice little handoff to Oli. Ooh, little fake as well. Trying to get creative there on the offensive side, see if they can get something going with the demo on the back line as well. G1 out swinging at the start of game 2.
That's exactly what I wanted to see from them. Do not slow down when you're forced to have this sort of break, especially as they started the first game so well. 8 seconds in, and they were scoring their first ever goal in a Rocket League World Championships. This Drops tries to get their 4th, because now they are 3 deep against G1. It's from the first one 3-0. Oli into the center with Atomic. G1 still yet to score, which is slightly worrying. And 3 debutants there as well, it has to be said, as well as the 2 Spaniards. Oli's not been at one either.
Slightly worrying, but a lot of time to work with and a lot of space here for Dorito. One-on-one versus Brad.
He's so good here to the backboard. Drufinho helps out with Brad's first touch. That was brave from Brad because that was a scary moment.
That's why I respect him so much, because, you know, a lot of teams at the top level, you don't want to give a lot of people space, but Brad feels so confident in that third-man role. He's happy to let that ball come towards you. He will say, take all the space you want. I'm still going to take it off you.
Brad, a player you can trust, and so far KRU are doing exactly that. He has lost the ball there though to Dorito. Drops at his near post, makes the save. G1 continuing to surge forward. Oli down the side, Atomic into the center. The touch a little bit loose, so Brad yet again is there to boom it away. Drufinho takes over. This is how KRU operate. Drufinho wants to prod it over the top of Dorito. He can't do it. And we're seeing both these teams at their best now.
Ooh, a little whip there from Brad. Free ball for Dorito. Not going to be able to get back to it. Everyone's just trying to hit a flip reset to make something happen, but no one actually has the boost to go for that type of play. And it will be G1 who comes down with possession.
We're seeing these teams' particular play styles on full show. As Brad gets the musty towards the corner, but Oli's read it. Has Dorito in the center, but what a clearance that was. All the way yet again down to the other end. G1, for all their half chances, yet to really put something on the board. And that demo will open things up in their defense as well. But was that one pass too many from Drufinho?
Yeah, he was kind of under pressure. Someone coming to challenge him, forcing him into making that touch. That's really what I wanted to see. Don't give him time on the ball to set up however he wants. Make him make a move early. Unfortunately, nobody from KRU in the box there to capitalize. Free ball out to Dorito in the midfield. Wins a 50 off the backboard. Nobody going for it. Dorito didn't have the boost, but he was in position in case they missed. And you do get called out on that eventually. If you keep trying to punish like that, they'll recognize that he's probably got nothing, and they just know they can let one go as Atomic punts one again over to the KRU half.
G1 the better team in game 2. KRU relying on counterattacks. Not looking too lightly. Maybe they changed that here.
Nice.
Oli, now that is brave. The man is more confident than I will ever be. Faking it like that in front of your own goal line. It does open things up for G1. And tackles Atomic. It goes to the ceiling. Drops is beneath him. Drops takes over, but it's only as far as Oli.
Ooh, Brad with the boost steal in the corner. That may give a few opportunities here. Oli, nice touch. There's Drufo, and he's just going to squeeze it into the near post.
Tough for G1. They were knocking on the door and it never opened. KRU, they have one chance. It was a beautiful save from Oli first time. He couldn't quite recover the second time. And KRU did what had to be done to give themselves a lead for the second game in a row.
It's just that little boost steal from Brad as well. Took away the ability to close that gap from G1 in the corner. Throw it towards the net, make it tough. Let your players come in and make big plays. That's what Brad brings to the team. He's a very different type of can opener.
He waits his moment and then he uses it. He utilizes any opportunities, any tools that he has. It's Drufinho that's back this time. Brad was, for once, the furthest man forward for KRU Esports, but he's getting back into his more regular position now off his own backboard. The demo to his compatriot didn't do too much to help him, though. These 3 Brazilians under a little bit of fire so far in game 2. Dorito, so much in the tank, but really yet to get going in this World Championship. Oli storms in and does wake up G1.
Hits him in the same spot where he just got scored on, the near post right behind the defense. Brad trying to figure this one out, and that's such a difficult position to play. The ball's over your back shoulder. It's bouncing off the wall. You've got the ball cam on. It's not an easy position to flick the camera middle and see where the shot's going to come from, and he just can't keep up with the bounce out.
A tight rotation there from Oli, and he called off Dorito as well, which is what you want to see. You want to see these players capable of saying, I have got this one. You can see Dorito dart away at the last split second. To put G1 back in it. KRU coming forward again, though, trying to return their lead. Atomic to the side. Dorito has to flick this one on and is more than capable of doing so. Oh, but Oli's missed it. Drops is there, and Drops gets the redirect. It's 2-1 KRU.
And actually, it's the one time Drufinho didn't actually try and keep the ball. He has all this space, and he went for the instant pass, and Oli was getting up thinking he was going to go challenge an air dribble. He just couldn't figure it out.
There was a huge reaction as well from Drufinho after winning the peekaboo competition earlier. His confidence is sky high. That assist would have helped too. And he was calling out G1, shouting at them, reminding him that he is here. The Brazilians are here to take over. Drufinho. Can't get that one. Brad's coming in. Look how much space and time he's got again. Oli's all alone, especially with Atomic being bumped. Oli held his nerve again. That is looking important for G1 in defense.
You know, believe it or not, Brad actually reminds me a lot of a player like Oski, where he tends to sit so deep in the rotation, but he gets the ball and then there's just all this space around him that everyone has to look at. Is this one ricochets off the post and Atomic's going to clear it out to the side, but Brad just... Dude has a presence on the field. When everyone gets the ball, everyone stops and says, hang on, where's it going?
For sure, I can see why you're so impressed with him, Achieves. He plays a beautiful, clean, he's a purist Rocket Leaguer, is Brad. Not a bull chaser. He just clears the path when it's right. That's a good save from Dorito. Prods it on top.
Oh, they let it go.
One's coming for KRU. They turn back, trying to hold on to what they have. Sneaking forward to a 2-1 victory, perhaps. Drufinho sweeps up. KRU take the 2-0 lead.
You know, I was very curious why KRU wasn't trying to, jam that last one in and put that game away, but...
Would have been tempting.
Exactly, and you realize that, they're just letting him go because they know they're going to rush the ball, and they just let it roll all the way up the pitch and waste all that time off the clock, and love that confidence from Drufinho to be like, I know you think I'm there, and I'll just let you hit it to me, and you guys are going to beat yourselves here at the end of the game.
You can learn a lot about a team's mentality through moments like that, because there must have been a very large siren in his mind going, you can win the game here, attack the ball, look, you've got a chance, you've got a chance. To ignore that, to turn away, to steal those last few seconds, to play it safe when you're 2-1 up, that's not simple to do. KRU are showing that any losses they have had in majors so far and events so far, even in regionals so far, they've built upon each of them and learned around each of them. And G1, after the break they had after Game 1, have not called a timeout, a more official timeout this time around. They're rolling straight through to Game 3.
And it was a really nice Game 2. It was much improved, I think, is the way I want to go for G1. So it's great to see KRU come out here in Game 2, still put a decent amount of shots on target, fairly limited opportunities for G1, none of them particularly strong scoring opportunities. KRU definitely in the driver's seat here, and you'll love to see that. As Brad, I was talking about him a lot, and no way he played top 5 playing 60 hertz stretch. That's insane. I cannot imagine playing top-level Rocket League 60 hertz.
I mean, these South American players as well, they can play on North American servers as well. They do anything they can to get as much experience as they can. They'll have to use a little bit here, though, because that kickoff was not the one.
Nasty. Hard ball over Drufinho's shoulder. Doesn't matter how good you are at this game.
Doesn't matter how many hurts you have, that'll still hurt.
That one's definitely going to hurt. Very difficult play to make, no matter your skill level. Drufo not up to it, and this time it's G1 who gets the nice, easy goal off a little misplay from their opposition.
Now, G1, lads, you have yourself a lead in this series. Play like winners. It's the team that has made majors this season, lest we forget. You know, they've changed it, they've mixed it up, they've had to at times. They've always found a way to make it through. The OG EU frustrators so far, the 22-23 season. Now, can they add KRU to that collection? Oops. Not with misses like that one. That one's to the ceiling. Drops is coming in, but Atomic just sends it out wide to Dorito. This is looking like KRU are starting to play a little bit maybe too quick for their own good is what I'm starting to detect.
I do like KRU. Well, is it too quick? That's a good question. I'm going to try and look at that. I want to see if anyone's really trying to rush something, because that definitely could explain why they're starting to kind of just go into these challenges, because it did really feel like early on in game 1 especially that they were finding a lot of open ground to work with.
Yeah, and suddenly everything seems a bit more densely packed as two players miss the ball. Oli's up against Brad. Oli could make it 2 here to force it through. Drops was needed from Drufinho, standing tall in defense.
Ooh, just the raw punt from Brad. Actually wasn't under pressure. Nobody from KRU able to communicate that no one's actually there and they have a little bit of time, but sometimes you just need the space to go grab some boost.
Well, Dorito thought the same thing apparently. A little bit of ping pong emerged for a second or two as Atomic lets that one roll over him because he knows that his teammate Dorito is going to be on the ball. Oli's coming in with 12 boost, so I thought he'd keep that ball close to him. Instead, he tried to boom it away with nothing in the tank. Won't even need it. That's why you ignore cool goal.
Look at this pass from G1. Drops, tries to pick it off. Atomic, the recovery. Ooh, down to the floor as fast as he could. Made the defender look bad in the midfield.
I feel like G1 have very much turned on the Spanish Bim Bam in this game. I think I might be wrong. I don't think it was KRU that was rushing. I think it's G1 that have upped the pace.
We got to catch up
as they can. Exactly. Speed it up. Chuck yourself at the ball. Make things happen. Go forth with no boost and see if you can, gain some sort of advantage from it. So far, they've got a couple. will KRU learn from it and start to punish them if they continue to play the same way? That one's into the center. Oli up against Trofino. And Oli should get this ball cleanly again. A lot of clear clearances from G1.
And I was kind of wondering if Brad was going to come in there. Nice stop on the goal line from Dorito. Little chip forward. Atomic misses the block. Opportunity here for KRU, and they will score.
That's how it can backfire. If you send that ball too many times towards the KRU half, eventually they'll be there lingering and waiting. And the redirect is the easiest way to counter over-paced play. 2-1 now with the lead incredibly slender.
So much of that net, because you're right, they really did try and cover up. They got that little chip forward into the midfield, and you saw G1, they dove at that one to try and cover that gap. Finally slipped through right out to drops, and so much of the net to cover. G1 couldn't keep up. Lead cut in half. KRU. A lot of space to work with here as Dorito again quickly on the ball. They definitely recognize they don't want to let them carry it if they can help it.
The recovery there from the KRU player, a little bit lackadaisical. We'll have to up that pace the way G1 is starting to play now. But not if G1 missed the ball. Trofino, it is going to punish them. It was coming and it's 2-2.
How does this even happen? They're right up into the middle, and did Atomic just straight misread that ball?
I think he thought Oli was going to hit it as well. I think there was a miscommunication in the air, and suddenly you realize you've missed it, and it's 2-all.
Very awkward. That's, again, either communication or some type of misread from somebody on G1. That's an ugly one to give up.
You feel that for G1, you have to win this game.
Yeah.
You've been on the cusp of, on the back foot the whole time. You take a 2-0 lead, and suddenly...
Throw it away?
The first one was a sort of counter to the way they were playing, fair enough. The second one was the throwaway. That is the one that's really going to get under their skin if they allow it to achieve.
Do like to see Atomic not get frazzled there, recognizing he had a little bit of space, just popped it into an air dribble. Didn't really turn it into much, but you like to see that, what's the word I want, poise, I will say, to not feel too rushed and still have that space identification at the drop of a hat.
Here comes Brad, over Dorito, Oli up against him. Oli waits. I'll try to get it over the top to the ceiling, but Oli just forced him enough. And now Oli has nobody to pass to, so he just fakes it out, but Drops hasn't fallen for it at all. Dorito won't miss this one.
That's what we were talking
over the top of him, Trofino just wide. G1 living on the edge.
Saw Drops come in and take that ball away because they, again, tried to press a position with no boost, and KRU picked up on it, and that's why they weren't scared about him getting a touch. They knew he wouldn't get back to it. Oli with a little bit of operating space. Brad out to his corner. Drufo, a soft floater. Drops the only one there for it. And again, G1 just trying to recover and grab some boost, so a lot of ground to work, and Brad just 50s everything.
He's just watching it all happen in slow motion around him as player after player from G1 charges at him, barely missing the ball. But no goals from it. Still 2-2. That flick might open completely the G1 defense. Trofino over the top of Atomic. G1 have to get a foot on the ball right now, and that is the one there from Oli. He's certainly the player that's trying to slow things down the most when he has the chance. That is what's making KRU a little bit nervy in defense. Here comes Oli. Drops was equal to it. And Dorito has to head back. Now it's KRU the chance to counter. Dorito, it's bypassed him.
Whoops.
He puts it back into the center. And he was the only player who won another piece of that ball.
So hang on, well, let's figure this out. Didn't mean to hit it straight into your nose.
Improvisational defense there.
Oli, just got it ripped away from him in the midfield. You definitely don't want to give the last chance to KRU here. You need to contain this ball.
Oh! Brad! How? That was an absolute gimme! The angle was there. He should have scored it. That should have been game.
Woo!
It's the best of 7. You would have felt it was game, set, and match had he scored that. Now the question is KRU's mentality. Are they able to deal with a mistake like that, a miss? We've seen some high-profile ones recently in majors against certain spring major winning teams that rode their luck, shall we say, against open goals once or twice in their run. They can change dynamics. They can alter series. But KRU are more than capable of just getting right back up and scoring the overtime anyway.
You know the old saying, Cole. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
I thought you were going to say don't miss open goals.
Don't miss open net.
I like that one.
That's a pretty good one.
Very often, but I do like it. Here we go. Here's Brad. He pushes it in. Oli does get back. Trofino up against Drops. They're getting each other's way now, KRU. A little bit desperate. G1, now is your chance.
Really nice clear there from Atomic. It was a required double tap. You had to clear that space, and now he's spending a lot of boost and leaving a lot to Oli to cover. We'll figure it out, but G1's starting to get pressed back here in the OT.
Dorito is going to race all of KRU to get to that ball, and he just about loses it. Oli to the ceiling now. Jaffinio's in. Does he get the double tap flip reset? He gets half of it. He almost finishes the job, but the post gets in the way. Now it's Brad's turn. To the ceiling is where he wants to go. Doesn't quite have the boost. Instead, it's a flip reset into the center. Atomic closes him down, drops his pass, the tad weak and floaty, and this particular attack will come to an end.
It actually might work out pretty well. It was definitely awkward from drops. I thought maybe he would take a hard shot. Brad one-on-one, little fake from Atomic into the middle, and no!
Someone put the ball away! Dodge into it! Have you not done the tutorial? You literally score a goal like that the first time you boot up the game! Here's Oli, Doritos high, wants to get the double tap, wants to finish it with a flourish. Apparently open goals are too difficult for these guys. Go for the beautiful double tap instead.
Brutal for G1. Now they got to recover themselves. Floater into the corner, hard off the bar.
That's what it is.
Great shot there from Oli. Drops. It's not really a bad play. It's just Oli forcing an extra touch, and you love the recovery from Oli as well. Atomic says there's a little bit of space here. Oli says, okay, I'll go get it. Boy, did he turn that in.
Lovely smile as well from Dorito, like, okay, there we
go.
Well, you know, we're in business now. To be fair to Dorito, I think he was a little bit further forward than he should have been, so he couldn't generate any power. You can justify it. You can figure out why those goals didn't go in, but still, just put it in, you know.
It's funny you say that, you know, he's positioned a little bit tight. That is something that Jorby and I both recognized watching some of these G1 players. They do position quite tight, and, you know, we talked so highly about Venom because he's so flexible playing that fast and that tight, but some of these other players, they don't have that same speed, but they're even less flexible because their positioning is just trying to be as close to the play as possible, and you lose a little bit of that flexibility. You can't turn in that open net sometimes, and thankfully G1 were able to rally there.
Oh, there we go, the response as well from Dorito. He would have seen Jaffinio opposite him. I love it. I love lands achieves. When you see these players, you can see them communicating and getting under each other's skin. It's such an... For years, you know, during the RLCS X era, oh, hello. For years, it was sort of forgotten what a big impact that can have, the difference that playing offline compared to online is. And that's a huge part of it. It's your ego. Is it enough to deal with people screaming in your face?
Literally.
They're better than you, should have been 4-0, all of that.
It is a whole different ball game to contend with in the mental aspect, because I feel like a lot of online play, the mentality is personal, it's internalized, you know, it's you versus yourself. And then you go into the live environment, it's you versus yourself, and this dude yelling at you because he just clipped on you with a double flip reset.
And maybe 10,000 fans chanting your name for or against as well. Just all these ingredients making it as tough as possible. That was tough, but it's saved well by KRU.
There's a reason online is worth so much in every aspect of competition. Live events, nothing beats them.
Now, G1 on the dreaded Utopia. Real ones will understand what happened to them last time they were a major on this map. Not this time, they take the lead.
This is a great shot from Atomic. Dodges the demo in the midfield, and because of it, the demo comes through on the KRU side of things. He's able to just cut through, and that's a really nice shot. It's not easy, believe it or not. Yes, it's open, but you got to make sure you don't hit it off that post. It's actually a very thin line to the net there.
G1 enjoying themselves now. Again, turning to KRU, really going for it with these celebrations. Atomic almost bulldozes that one in, drops. And somebody else from KRU, I didn't see who, Brad it was. Two of those guys, they were doing their best to get that ball away, just about managed to. And he has a pass, Dorito's turning, he's from the ceiling, there's a shot opportunity here, it's the back ball instead! And only should have left it for Atomic.
It's actually probably a good thing. As soon as I said it, I saw somebody from KRU going to challenge it as well, and it's like, that's why I would have got scored on there, because I would have let it go.
They tried to do the perfect thing, and it would have backfired, as is always the way. Jaffinio does do the perfect thing there. His touch clean in front of his own net, but squeezed out in the end by G1. We're revitalized here on Utopia.
It's a really nice press early on here. They definitely haven't let KRU out of the orange half early on in Game 4. It's kind of the opposite of how it looked in Game 3's overtime, as look at Oli taking all the space that's given to him. He's through a couple people. Dorito does not get the cleanest hit. Got a little far away from him and easily parried by KRU.
Brad's going to put this one out wide. Try and initiate a race. The drops will win, but Atomic was just waiting there. So deep defending from G1, not falling into their own trap of playing too close to the ball that you identified earlier achieves.
They do keep jumping, you know, at everything that kind of crosses into the box, and they want to press. They went for the demo. That's a triple commit to that play for G1. Now they're going to have to really recover here, pick up some boost in the midfield, wheel, and try and keep G1 on the attack. KRU, that was a big chance to try and regain possession, but oof, G1 playing 1 inch from out of control.
Atomic takes a clean touch into the middle. He could have got that, Oli could have got that, Dorito could have got that. In the end, it was the latter who played with the ball and continued with it. This one a little bit loose right now. G1 won't mind too much because, of course, they have the lead and they are still trying to fully establish themselves in this series. Massive game, this one, Utopia. 3-1 feels infinitely different to 2-2. G1 looking like they're able to make it.
Oh, nice pass.
2-2 after this one. The pass is there. The shot's clean. G1 have woken up. Look at that reaction into the camera from Dorito.
Good to see him settle in. And again, it's that solid, instant recovery from Atomic. Gets the soft touch, lands on the wall, and nobody's expecting him to have that type of speed coming back into that play to just chip it into the middle. Atomic's recovery game so far, lights out.
Here he goes again. Oh, he's missed that one, but it allows Dorito in. Suddenly for G1, even their mistakes are leading to chances. This is when you sort of feel that fate has flipped. It's now on G1's side, but this bump in this demo can change it. Trofino, does he get the dish? Does he get the pass? Can he do anything with the ball? Not in the end, because the clearance from G1 gets it out of the way, and Dorito can just send it right back and say, go again, lads.
And I know KRU didn't score right there, but I actually really like that counterattack. They're going to score here. Brad's able to convert the open net. G1 gives something up in the midfield. Dorito couldn't figure it out. Atomic was going for the demo, and it looks like Oli was off grabbing boost somewhere, so left a lot of the net open. But that previous counterattack from KRU, really solid because they were trying to let that play develop, and even though it didn't result in a goal, put them in a decent enough position to wheel back around and make the second attempt happen.
You respect from KRU that they're sticking to their original game plan here.
Yes.
Being suckered into this race for the ball every time that G1 wants to happen, not allowing things to become as scrappy as G1 are desperate to make happen. But there's nothing scrappy about this passing play there from G1. Atomic with another infield pass. Maybe to me achieves that was one too many. I thought that maybe they're starting to be downloaded, having to do saves down the other end. They are. KRU ending this game much on the upper foot.
Ooh, little chip drops took it away from his teammate, but thankfully KRU able to recover. But it does feel like G1 starting to go for that pass across the middle of the pitch, and they let that ball roll because KRU thinks maybe the shot's coming, and they go into the corner and steal the boost. So it feels like they're trying to prevent KRU from stockpiling, and that's kind of limiting KRU's ability to clear the ball and really stay with the play.
That's where your intelligent players matter the most. So Brad, all eyes on you. Can you bypass this G1 squeeze? Drops wants to bump Atomic out the way. Atomic's dodged that one. Oli is back as well from G1. Dorito sends it forward. Trofino all the way forwards again from KRU. Now starting to up the pace. Understandably rushing things.
Oh, they got him.
Surely they haven't overcommitted, though they have. It's 2-2.
I think he got caught by the smoke screen here. I think he couldn't see who was going to win that ball in the midfield. So Dorito was thinking, maybe I can get there, maybe I can't, and that's just one of them where, you know, your own personal play style works either against you and you get scored on, or it works for you and you're in the perfect spot.
You can be the best player in the world, but as soon as that boom is there on the pitch, you cannot see in front of it. Communication becomes key. There's another one now. The demo's flying in. Another open chance is missed, but Trofino, thankfully for KRU, helps out his mate.
2 goals in what is that, 8 seconds? And KRU just from down 1 to in the lead. Bonkers.
To be fair, that was a great effort from Drops as well, because that angle was harsher than I realized, and he had less time to deal with it. So I was a little bit harsh there, saying that was an open goal miss. That was actually a top pass.
Keep it in play.
Yes, exactly. Make sure it bounces rather than rolls. That was the key. That's what happened there. Now it's over to G1. The pendulum has swung again. Can they break through KRU? Atomic goes long as he can. Dorito's there. Ooh. Tips it into the center towards Oli, who then knocks it forward. Trofino from left to right. The sweeping motion sends it clear. Brad's going to miss this one, though, unlike him. Oli has to turn onto it. Dorito, perhaps one more chance. He wants to get the double bump. Drops.
Wow.
He levitated, and he waited, and then for G1's troubles, they were demoed. 3-1 in the series to KRU.
I gotta say, I love KRU's willingness. They know the situation there. So many people would have got so tied up and like, oh, they're air dribbling towards the net, we gotta go challenge him. And Drops is just like, no, he's gonna try and bump me out of the way so his teammate can make a strong shot on target. And that's great defense from Drops there to just let him go right over him, then just tip that ball gently into the corner. Great awareness there.
I believe we still have a G1 tactical timeout to take when they choose to. I haven't heard anything yet, so they might be rolling straight on, despite now being two games down. And they have indeed actually taken the timeout right then. It seemed inevitable, but you know, sometimes these players just decide, no, we can keep going. We're all right.
That's a pretty frustrating game for G1 as well. I mean, they had the lead, they had a general high amount of pressure, but look at the demos from Drufinho. Guy had 7. How often do we see exterminators in RLCS games? Not very often.
At Direct. How often do we? There's no rhetorical questions anymore, Achieves. We're in the era of actual answers.
Yeah, how many people get exterminators in live events? Certainly not a lot, but it was wild because you see a team, if he accounted for 7, I'm pretty sure that gave KRU, I think, 9 or 10 demos that game, which is way above their average. It was like 5 or 4.
What was impressive as well is that they didn't seem to be pulling themselves out of rotation too much. In fact, you and I were commenting on the fact that they were staying with the same disciplined style. So despite really turning on demo cam, they didn't look too chasey. Sometimes it can pull you out of rotation and make you seem poorer overall. So a really good balance there from KRU Esports.
There you go. It's a fun fact. Since you're absolutely right, it is the era of answers. That was the 20th exterminator on land. That actually is a lot higher than I thought it would be. I was maybe thinking like 9.
If anybody in chat can name all of the 19 others, they will get 100 achievements.
Yeah, so there you go. I'd love to see who's got an exterminator. If anyone has 2, I'll be surprised.
Oh,
I'm sure someone's got 2.
Oh,
Comms probably.
Go on, Oli. One more chance.
Yep.
Ready? 3.
One more go.
No.
No. He says no. Quit while I'm only a little behind.
I was looking forward to that. I mean, is that what these players normally do during these tactical timeouts? They just go bottle throwing?
Which is crazy because they're the team that's losing.
Hey, look at Chiefs. G1 will never bottle it, okay?
There we go. There we go. It's a bold call, but I guess they were ready to get right back into the game. They took their time, but as we were talking about, very frustrating game 4, to be honest. You had the lead for a significant portion of it. You had the pressure there, and you still end up just tanking the game away. That's a tough one to rally from.
G1 are more than capable of doing so, though. The game that they won was truly deserved. They turned on the Bim Bam, and it worked. They have to be able to do that at the correct moments and turn it back off when it's right as well. If they can do that, then there is a way back for them in this series. But KRU, they are looking, certainly to me, like the superior team on paper right now. Atomic puts someone into the center and drops. He's already right back. KRU making sure that no G1 passers are finding their intended targets.
Little shimmy shake, and Atomic, he didn't believe it. He didn't think it was actually going to get through. He jumped off the play early, and now G1's got to look for something else.
Didn't back the shimmy shake. Always back the shimmy shake. Here's Brad up against Oli. He's just floundering for that one. Got it covered. Allowed Atomic in, so decent play from him in the end. Now here he comes again, this time pushing forward. Drufinho sends him back as far as he can and then gets the follow-up too. Great play from KRU. He had like no boost around all of that and got the ball over halfway.
Extra credit for Drufinho there on an excellent clear attempt. And what you're really looking for here in Game 5, you want to see KRU at least fight for the ball in the middle of the field. Because, yeah, I know you won the last game, but you never want to be allowing 10 shots. Now it's Brad out there getting demos, drops towards the net, and it's open.
Man.
And G1, they get boomed. They have to cover another bit of extra space. Oli couldn't figure it out and drops a great pass off the wall to just freeze the last man.
Poor Atomic spawns, and the first thing his new car ever sees is 2 KRU players coming towards him at a horrible angle, pretty much having no chance at all. So that's not an enjoyable moment there for G1. But the demo's continuing for KRU Esports. Absolute savagery from them. At least a bit more defending now. Drufinho pops it out wide and follows it. Does he go for this boost? I think he could have done it if he had tried, but in the end, didn't go for the ball either. So he'll have a chance to counter. That's the challenge here. Oli waits. Atomic comes in instead. Atomic shoots, and Drufinho gets the save. It's clean there from KRU, not overcommitting even on their own goal line when there were 2 of them there. The comms staying succinct. The decision-making staying perfect. Drops. He gets the musty over to Rito. Oli puts it wide towards Atomic. Great play there from Oli.
And Oli so committed to that play, making it look like he still had boost. He drove off the backboard and jumped at it just to try and freeze KRU's defense in the midfield so they wouldn't go and get it. But time slowly ticking down. G1, you need to see them reestablish control of the pitch here.
Oli catching everything. So far, he has been the standout for G1 for me. He's looking most likely to be able to change the game just with a challenge or a touch, change the pace of things. Dorito hasn't been too effective at times, really, with his mechanics, which is disappointing.
Dorito's been put away
so much.
Dorito's been definitely more on put-away duty this series, considering some of the shot opportunities. Atomic's been moving the ball well when he's got the time. Dorito has just kind of been called on to say, hey, we got to score it. But no one on G1 really getting the job done. Well, it's not that they're playing bad. I'll rephrase this. No, it's not.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I just keep an eye on the top
Another
right
one.
And look for those grenade symbols next to these players, because it's constant. It's a constant flow of demos from KRU Esports. A goal for G1 might change things and make KRU just be a little bit more respectful of their opponents. No, again, they are unable to break through. Atomic's in the air. Brad's coming in. Oli's there. Brad has to get the touch off the backboard, and what a read that is when all the pressure is on.
Difficult reads like that really tend to tell me if a team is feeling comfortable and playing well. I mean, get that ball over the shoulder, off the backboard, needs to get it to a safe space, and Atomic will come through again, find an equalizer here. KRU Esports really kind of just tongue-tied here in their own corner, couldn't figure out where it needs to go.
Oli involved in a massive way as well, coming from the side, getting a flick reset at the end of it to make his challenge even more devastating. And then there was the finish. G1 do get themselves back in the game, potentially back in the series, win this game, and suddenly things feel very nervy for KRU Esports. So, key goal here. The next 15 seconds, massive in this series. Atomic gets the double tap almost from the floor. Dorito's coming in, but Brad sweeping up, as he's done so many times, and now drops it on the run.
Ooh, and like that pressure from drops as well. KRU knows that they don't want to give G1 the ball back for very long if they can help it. And just forcing G1 to make a suboptimal touch probably plays into their hands a little bit. So you can always trust Brad's going to be back there, giving them that little cushion. And I think KRU should feel pretty confident saying, you know what, we're willing to give you a little bit of space because we found those demos, we're opening them up, extra room. We'll send somebody off the ball to take one away from you, and you guys haven't been able to cover up.
It's Rufinho, Oli in front of him. Oli now on the backboard, just trying to get this one as far away from his goal as he can do. Brad's waiting underneath it, never rushes into anything, does Brad. Allows drops to charge it down. Another bump attempt from KRU Esports. The shots there, Oli was equal to it. How's the next touch? Into the center. Brad has a teammate behind him, fakes out Oli.
The boost.
Drafinho is there. The boost is so high for all of KRU. Not the same for G1. To the ceiling from Drafinho, and he might have just sunk this series.
They got it all taken away. Atomic drove into the corner hoping it would spawn. It didn't. And Drafinho, finally a little bit of space to work with. Turns in a beauty into the top of the net.
G1 have got kickoff goals so far this series. Can they get one now when they have to? It goes high. Oli's going to wait for it. Drafinho surely takes this one out. Yes, he does. KRU, they're standing up. They're saying, what challenge was that? It was challenging. G1 made it so, but KRU won out.
Oh my gosh, 86 on the scoreboard for Dorito. A quiet closeout to the series for him, but it was tough all the way through. I think KRU definitely locked in this series. Everybody felt like in their role, they got the job done, even in those games where they were getting pressured super hard by G1. That's that defensive excellence that Sam have really been bringing to the table more and more often in these live events. Got to give him a lot of credit. And an unfortunate start to the tournament if you're G1. You're hoping that even if, you know, everyone favors KRU, which I think is fair to say, it's solid enough that, like, okay, we know you didn't win, but it easily could have been a 4-2, maybe even a 4-3 had a few more things gone G1's way. It's not like they were getting blown out of the water all the way here. The scoreline of 4-1 makes the series look a lot worse than it was for them.
I mean, KRU certainly have G1's number, though, at this point. They beat them in the Winter Major to break through that group, survive at G1's expense before going on to make the quarterfinals of that event, and now they've beaten them here a lot more comfortably. KRU are a team that seem to be ever improving. Yet another from this South American conveyor belt. And that was probably one of the better performances I've seen from them at this level. You know, at the LAN level. It's their first time at Worlds, but I mean at a major or here in the offline world.
Really good show all across the board for KRU. Taking the lead in the demo game as well. Really respect that. Been wondering a little bit more about demo differentials recently, and definitely edging out G1 in that regard, nearing 6 per game. So crazy physical series from KRU as well.
Yeah, KRU just seem to know when to go for the bumps and the demos and when to play a more clean style of Rocket League.
Yeah, and they did an excellent job as we look at our final Mobile 1 high-performance replay. Drops a little musty flick, and G1 trying their best to just hold them off. Sometimes, what can you do? At the end of the day, it's KRU Esports with a big win.
A big win in the Swiss. Still 2 more series to make it if they want to make it through to the main stage. But in the meantime, we're going to head over to the stage ourselves for an interview with Veracity. What you got to say?
Drafinho, the demo demon himself. You got to be feeling pretty darn good after that matchup. Talk to me about what exactly was being said, because I heard you and your teammates getting very, very loud. Try and keep it PG. What kind of trash talk were you throwing?
Drafinho, vocês estavam, parabéns, vocês estavam muito hypados aí durante essa partida inteira. O que vocês estavam falando para os outros? Vamos manter para todas as idades aqui. O que vocês estavam falando?
Não, é que eles têm... Eu tava conversando com o Reis Bull ontem, né? E aí eles teve uma mini briguinha com a galera da G1. E aí, como eu sou amigo do Reis Bull, a gente levou isso pro nosso jogo aqui e falou que os caras são ruins e tudo.
So I'm actually very good friends with Bull, and there was something that happened backstage that I'm not gonna talk much about, but we wanted to bring that banter onto G1, pretty much being on Bull's side.
Can I inquire about what happened? Just a little bit. Just give us a little bit of
Ela
context.
tá te perguntando pouquinho do que aconteceu de verdade nesse backstage aí.
Não sei, acho que eles tiveram uma briguinha na screen lá e aí eu conversei com o Reis Bull ontem, a gente trouxe isso pro jogo e deu o nosso máximo.
It was actually during a scrim. They had like a little back and forth with, G1 Bull. That's why we just took his side on this one, and we started. We would throw some banter as well onto G1.
Well, congrats once again. You guys are actually performing exceptionally well within your region. Now, when it comes to playing at international tournaments, however, it seems like there's a little bit of a disconnect that's going on, recently finishing 13th or 16th during the spring split. What kind of issues do you think it is that you're facing between regional tournaments and international ones?
Vocês são muito fortes na ação, né, como uma região. E historicamente, assim, a gente nunca ganhou um major, né, um evento desse tipo. Então, qual que é essa dificuldade que vocês, como região, têm encontrado durante os eventos e como ultrapassar essas dificuldades?
Eu acho que para todos os times da SAN, geralmente a dificuldade é a pressão inicial, né, de jogar uma LAN. Mas eu sinto que os times da SAN já evoluíram muito nisso. Tipo, quando o time da SAN pegar calma, que nem a gente teve nessa série de agora, tipo, com todos os times, tipo a Fúria antigamente, eu acho que a gente vai performar bem em todos os campeonatos.
Initially, there was some problem with the experience as a region. We didn't make it to many events, or not many of us did. So we're kind of getting past that. We're overcoming that into being stronger also internationally, and kind of following Furious steps, because once they got that experience, they really performed. So if all the teams in SAM can perform as calmly and chill as we did right now, we can go really, really far.
Well, my final question for you then, you can't tell me that and then not tell me what your secret is behind making those improvements. So tell me, what specifically are you and the team doing in order to try and combat that?
Para conseguir esses resultados e tudo mais, o que exatamente a KRU, o time de vocês, está fazendo para realmente performar no alto nível? Qual é a fórmula desse sucesso que vocês têm?
Eu acho que internacionalmente, né, tipo, os times da SAN já têm um nível de jogar contra todos do mundo. O negócio é o que eu falei, né, ali da calma. E a gente tá se preparando muito bem psicologicamente para vir para todos os torneios de LAN, que eu acho que é o essencial pra gente, porque aqui na LAN todo mundo é igual, todo mundo joga bem, então é um jogo parelho.
Yeah, I think it's all about being calm and really getting that experience, which we already have. It's really being calm, really, tapping into what we know we can do, and then it's very important to make it to every LAN as well, because that gives you that experience, and that's really what we're doing right now.
Well, I'm excited to hear a lot more screaming, a lot more shouting, and a lot more banter coming out from you and the team, so congratulations once again.